This is Rey Fury, and you will learn to embrace the fury. But until then, take a seat and listen to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. Yeet, yeet!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Nick McDaniel, and once again, great Southern 8 tournament week rolls on here on the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. You've heard them all. You've heard the big ones. You've heard the ones who call themselves the bad ones. You even heard from the man, the promoter himself putting it on. But today we're bringing on the odds-on favorite. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, all the money in Vegas says this is your winner. If you haven't seen him, pull up when we're done here. Matter of fact, you can hit pause and you can go to your Google machine and type in Rey Fury and you're going to see something special. Yes, that's right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined by Rey Fury himself. What's going on, buddy?
Yeet, yeet! What's going on, baby? How you?
Good, man. I've been waiting for this, man. A friend of the show, has been hyping you for quite some time. We won't say his name because we're not going to plug him. He knows who he is. But yeah, man, he's got me pulling up to you on YouTube left and right, man, watching some matches. And when speaking, like I said, speaking with Jay and O'Shea, I'll go ahead and say it. Everybody says Vegas odds, you're the guy. But hey, before we jump, before we get into this, something kind of, we talked a little bit off air, and I just want to make sure we get this covered because it's really important to all parties involved, especially I know you're kind of leading the charge out there at Ego with this. Kind of go ahead and tell them about a special event you guys got coming up.
Okay, I got a special event coming up October 21st. I'm doing a fundraiser for Puerto Rico. The island of Puerto Rico has been devastated with the Hurricane Maria had just passed by, and there's some parts of the island still with no power. There's people out there with no food, no utilities, no anything. So, I feel like it's my responsibility as one of the few independent wrestlers out there on the scene to at least attempt to do something at least. So I started a GoFundMe, and I'm raising some money to send to the island of Puerto Rico. And October 21st at the Hideaway in Jackson, Mississippi, 100% of the proceeds that I get at the door is going right towards the Puerto Rico fundraiser.
That's great. And I know, like I said, we discussed it when Jay was on, and I'm a big proponent. I did tell him, get me that link also, and we'll get it all set up, and we'll make sure we get it shared out on the network as well. Cause everybody knows us, man. We're hyping charity events left and right. That's, we're big proponents of, you gotta give back. We all, we have all had a lot of advantages and a lot of, things to help us get where we are. So sometimes you gotta make sure you give back. So I wanted to make sure we covered that right out of the gate.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Not a problem, buddy. But now let's get into the man. Let's get into Rey Fury, and let's talk a little bit about, where you came from. How'd you get here, man? You're one of the hottest names on the independent circuit, man. So kind of how do we even get here?
Well, I'm going to try to make a long story brief. But about 4 years ago, not to get too personal, but my girlfriend at the time was living with me in New York, the Bronx, New York, and she got pregnant. And so financially, I couldn't support her. So she moved down to Mississippi to be closer to her family. And I had a choice, either stay in New York and I guess be a deadbeat or, go to the South and try to make it work with my new family. And that's what I did. That's the decision I made. I came down here, no friends, no family, no nothing. And that's when I found my first independent show. And from there, I've been training ever since, and I've just been hitting her hard.
Now, were you a fan when you came down, or were you just something you found when you got here?
Man, I was a wrestling fan since I came out of the womb. Like, I grew up watching it, and I had wrestling rings, I had wrestling toys, I had posters, I had chairs, I had everything. And I'd never been to an independent show before. But one day I ordered Domino's Pizza. I saw the flyer on the box. I said, you know what? I'm not going to forget to go to the show. I put that flyer right on the dashboard of my car. I said, I'm not going to forget. That day came and went right after work. You know, I met a few guys, went to the next show, and by the third show that I went to, I got in touch with the promoter, which is Jay Andrews, and I began my training.
And now Jay, of course, is now if we'll put it to it for everybody together here. Jay is one of the owners, promoters of Pro Wrestling Ego, and that's kind of been your home. I mean, for a while. I mean, that's your home. So kind of how did you so you got in with Jay and you start that path, but now let's kind of talk about your growth from Ego, because you just said, hey, third night, boom, you're jumping in with Jay into the Pro Wrestling Ego. But you're let's just say you're quite farther down the path now. Tell us a little bit about the journey of even getting there.
Man, the journey's been great. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know how it is with everyone else when they start training, but when I started, I feel like it was something I already knew. It came pretty easy for me. Like I feel like I've done it already. I don't know if it's because I watched it so much growing up, or what, but it just came easy for me. Like, okay, I know how to do this. I know how to do that, So, like, the fundamentals and the wrestling, I got that down pretty quick. And, from there, I started a tag team with another guy I broke into business with. And then, soon after that, about a year after that, we split up and he moved away and I just went on my own, do my singles run.
And now Rey Fury's not, hasn't been your name the whole time. There's a little bit of a story, because that's where I was trying to get you to go. It's like, there's a little bit of history there in even getting to Rey Fury. So give us a little bit of scoop on that.
Yeah, when I first started, I was actually Dark Fury, and I wasn't against the name. I didn't think it was going to be permanent. I thought it was just something I was just going to start off with. But but the more matches I started to have, the more shows I started to do, I gained popularity. And so I'm like, I can change my name now. But, after a year of some change, I was like, I feel like I need to be more in tune with the people. I feel like I need to be taken a little more serious. So I want to add some realism to myself, and I needed to change my name. I didn't know what I was going to change it to. But shortly after that, my grandfather, he passed away, and he was very close to me. I grew up with that man, and he was one of the only male figures I had growing up, and that was pretty much one of the closest deaths I've ever had in my whole life. So when he passed away, it hit pretty hard, and I felt like, in honor to him, I had to change my name. And by doing that, I added Rey to Fury. So I took away the dark, and now I'm Rey Fury, in memory of my grandfather. And, hopefully he's proud of me, and he's still watching over me to this day.
Well, if he's watching down, I assure you, after, I've seen your matches, he's proud. And, how far you've come along the way. I would definitely say he would have to be. But that's from an outsider looking in. But man, you're tearing up Pro Wrestling Ego, man, and Ego's growing. I mean, that's a big thing right now. Give us a little scoop. I mean, cause for you to be, Pro Wrestling Ego's your home, and you see the growth they're going through and the changes they're going through. I mean, it's gotta be a big, big thing for you. Let everybody know. I know Jay covered some of it, but not as deep as we talked about, actually a little bit off air. So kind of let everybody know what we're talking about the growth of Ego.
Man, the growth of Ego has been great. I mean, from when I came in, even down from the matches to the talent, to the locker room, to the flyers, to even the building, we just grown tremendously. Like, nothing is the same from when I broke into business, and it's going in the right direction, I think. I know about a year and a half in the business, we got the Hideaway, which is a club in Jackson, Mississippi. And I call it the Madison Square Garden of the South. All right? I'm not afraid to say it. This venue is phenomenal. It's great. It gives you that big fight feel when you come to watch Ego. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I've been to a lot of different venues in the South, and I don't get that feeling. I get at Ego. And it might be because I'm a little biased, but even on camera, you don't have to take my word for it. Go on camera, watch the shows. That building is incredible, and the fans make it even more special. So just with that building alone, I feel like it just put us over that hump. And we're just going in the right direction. And the future for Ego is looking very bright.
And you brought up the Federated. Kind of explain all of that, what's going on as well, that whole.
Oh yeah, and now, so Federated is a brand based out of New York, and this man named Elliot Martinez, he picked a select group of individuals on the independent circuit, and he said, "Listen, I need you to trust me." And these guys said, "Okay, we're going to trust you." So this guy he's been like a guardian angel for these guys on the Indies. He'll buy gear for them. He'll get them into big matches and promote them like if they were his sons. And as of right now, I'm the Federated champion right now, and this belt is being defended all over the United States. Before me, John Davis had it, and he did a tremendous job with the title. And I'm proud to announce that Federated is going to have USWA based out of Jacksonville, Florida, and Pro Wrestling Ego based out of Jackson, Mississippi, underneath the Federated umbrella. So there will be one heavyweight champion in 2 weeks, representing USWA and Pro Wrestling Ego and Federated as one.
And that is something, Jay and I talked about this a little bit, where we think that's where the future of, wrestling needs to be. Sometimes history is, it needs to be learned to learn what needs to be working again. And, we bluntly said it. Don't worry about WWE. That's their, let them do them. But let's everybody needs to work together as a team and everybody. There's plenty of room. The territory system back in the days proved it. It can work. And, let people move from promotion to promotion. They get the experience, and then, like I said, and you've got a champion who's representing the Federated, and it can move. So I think big things are coming from that. We talked about that. I was really excited about it, about seeing that potential of a champion who's going to be the traveling champion again. So, and hopefully, down the road, Rey Fury's that champion, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And but man, you mentioned it a couple times now, New York and all that stuff. You're obviously from up there. You come down, you mentioned Madison Square Garden versus you call the Hideaway the Madison Square Garden. I mean, to go from a New York City, or that New York area and coming down to the South, culture shock, right? I mean, it's gotta be.
Culture shock is an understatement. Let me tell you, all right? This is totally the opposite of New York. Complete opposite.
Come on, you gotta go better than that. Go deep. Tell me, man, that's crazy.
I mean, it's just everything's different, man. The food, the people, the environment, the weather. I mean, the wrestling scene, I don't know too much about because I wasn't involved in that in New York. So, what I know here is all I know, and the stuff that I hear about up north. But it's really different, man. It's really different, That's all I can say. I don't.
But the food's not bad. I always tell people, food's not bad. Trust me, down here. But sometimes you crave that the pizza or the hot dog. They always joke about, or there's some good food up in New York. I can't lie. New York's such a place, man. This is kind of a tangent that I love to take sometimes. My 19-year-old came up to me and she's like, "Dad, I bought my ticket to New York. I got a hotel room," and she's completely going on her own. Her and a friend, they're just like, "We're going to New York City," and I said, "All right, good luck." I mean, now you will respect that because that kid I've put on a plane. She's been to Costa Rica, Argentina, Colombia, all on her own. So she's my traveling kid. So New York City, I'm like, piece of cake, right?
Yeah. I tell everybody they need to go at least just one time. Whether it's not your cup of tea, Yeah, or not, or if you end up loving it, you know, I say that's something that everybody has at least experienced one time. There's nothing like New York City.
Oh, I absolutely 100% agree. That there's certain things in your life you just got to experience. Even like you said, if it's not your cup of tea, you've just got to experience it.
Exactly.
And man, you know, speaking of experiences, here you are, you know, you're in Ego. Let me ask you a question, dude, because even, you know, because Ego's history is essentially, let's be honest, was two companies coming together. That was the history. So to see it grow from there to now, you know, you're bringing in guys. You know, I mean, from all over the, you know, and it's not, somebody tried to tell me it's a Southeast. I'm like, not really. I mean, Texas is even involved. I mean, that's not really a Southeastern state, guys. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the geography of it, but, you know, I'm like, this is really just a huge, huge thing. So we're going to come back to it, but I do want to plug it and let everybody know what we're talking about here at the Ultimate is the Great Southern 8. It's the 6th annual tournament. It's, you know, obviously November the 11th. Bell time is 7:00. Doors are going to open at 6. Tickets are $10 if you're 13 and older. 5 to 12 is $6. And then, you know, hey, if your kid's 4 or under, free. I'm like, you're not going to find a better value than that. It's just not going to happen. And then on top of that, as I tried to put it to somebody the other day, 8 guys are walking in there to put on a tournament to crown the Great Southern 8 champion. And if you want to know the history of it, like I said, tap into your Google machine, pull it up on YouTube. There's hype videos. There's old footage from those old tournaments. The guys that have come through that tournament, there's some names that you're going to go like, oh, wow. And one of them you've already said, John Davis, I'm a huge fan of. He does a lot of stuff here in Georgia. And, I mean, I'm a big, big fan. He represents very well. But even guys like Shug Dunkerton have come through there. You know, Kyle Matthews. I mean, the names are there. So trust me, this is a really big opportunity for all 8 men involved. And I said to somebody, think about this. You could pay $10. And if I told you you could watch Rey Fury wrestle 3 times in one night for $10, you'd be a happy camper, wouldn't you say? And they were like, yeah, actually, you're probably right. Because think about that. And we're going to come back to it. You're going to have to win 3 matches to win this tournament.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I'm thinking about that a lot.
Yeah. Well, speaking of guys you're going to face, you know, we always like to kind of run down, you know, some of the guys that you're looking down the road, you know, on this indie scene. It's as hot as it's ever been in this country. I tell people that, and I trust me, I try to hit enough shows, man. I've been to shows in Florida. I've been to shows and I've driven. I just said driven to Colorado to shows, you know, so trust me. I mean, I've seen some shows and it is really, really hot right now. Who's out there on the radar of Rey Fury that you're like, I gotta face this guy?
Wow. Honestly, the first guy who comes to head is to my mind is the Mecha Wolf, Mr. 450. I remember when I first broke in, I seen this guy looking like he just stepped off of a Dragon Ball Z cartoon. Like, man, who's this guy? And like, the outfit was pretty dope, you know. And I got to see more of his work, and I got to watch him evolve ever since me breaking in. And I actually got to share a locker room with him earlier this year, and you know. And I'm a big fan of him. You know, I didn't tell him that. But I'm a big fan of Mr. 450. And so I feel like one day me and him should stand across that ring from each other. We could tear it up.
Oh, absolutely. And got any others that you're just sitting there like on the, you're like, gotta get this guy, another guy. I mean, you gotta have a couple of them, I'm sure, that you're just staring down and it's burning an opportunity. You know, you just gotta get in there and face them.
I would love to wrestle Andy Dalton. Dirty Andy Dalton out of Texas. I would love to get in the ring with Andy Dalton. Danny Ramos, Juicy Danny Ramos. And Serpentico, John Cruz out of Florida.
There's a name I'm going to drop on you. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. You may have. But there's a guy that I've seen wrestle, and after watching you in a few of your matches, and I am partial, he was just on the show, but there's a young man by the name of Do or Die Chip Day.
Chip Day.
Yes. Google machine. It's your friend. I always tell everybody. He does, and he travels quite a bit. Indiana, you know, all the way up down to Florida, out west a couple times. So, and, there's a rumor here that if it can be pulled off, you might see him walk into an Ego locker room. So that may be something sooner than later. I would pay my hard-earned money to see Rey Fury face off with one Chip Day. I'll go ahead and tell you that. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
He just kind of I'll leave it at that. You'll put him in, and he's been around for quite a while. His nickname is the South's best kept secret.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. So you take a look at it, and like I said, he's been around and he's the real deal. Matter of fact, I jokingly we were just talking to him the other day. He has 25 nicknames. So when you wrestle him, trust me, you're going to get a break when it starts. So because you're going to get to sit down while they rattle off all of his nicknames. But anyway, back to the task at hand here. You're talking about the guys that you would love to face down the road. Well, I'm going to give you a few guys that you are pretty much are guaranteed you're going to face. Like I said, at least, if you want to win this tournament, you're going to face 3 of them. And, a lot of them got a lot of different challenges in front of you. You've got some muscle guys who are going to come in and just throw blows. You're going to guys who are going to, they're going to do a lot of the high flying stuff, which is right down your alley. I know that's your game. I mean, it's your specialty. But let's start off, man, with there's something about guys who've got, just a lot to prove. And somebody like Scotty Matthews is that guy. He's got a lot, he says he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody, but I think, he's going to come back and he's going to prove something.
Man, this gets me fired up. Because a lot of people, they feel like, oh, Rey Fury, he has a title here. He has a title there. Oh, he's well accomplished. He's getting booked here. He's getting booked there. He's losing that hunger. So they see me come into this tournament like, he might feel like he got enough. This is ours for the taking. We got something to prove. And that's not the case. That is not the case. I've sat for 2 years since I've started, and I watched the guys come in this locker room and come out and compete in this tournament while I had to watch and sit and wait for my turn. And now, this is my chance to take home that damn trophy.
It's like I said, I can see it's your home, and you're watching other people walk into your house and take your, what you could probably honestly look at and say, that's my trophy that they keep getting to walk home every year with.
Listen, I'm not going to deny it. I am the hometown favorite. This is my hometown. This is my turf. This is my ring. This is my Madison Square Garden. If anybody's going to take home that trophy, they're going to have to go through me, and that's a fact. There's nobody walking in that tournament that's not going to beat me that's going to take that trophy. They're going to have to go through me.
And I've already spoken to one guy. I'm going to go ahead and drop the name in there. We talked about him briefly for a second. O'Shea Edwards has got a lot, and he's not a stranger to you. He's been in that locker room before, so
I love O'Shea.
Lots of respect. Obviously, there's plenty of respect there. But as his statement always says, he's like, for Rey Fury to win this, he's going to have to beat me, and I'm going to punch him right in the mouth, and we're going to find out who the better man is, and that's who's going to go home with that trophy.
Listen, I got all the respect in the world for O'Shea. I love O'Shea. We always bounce ideas off each other. We always stay in touch. But I've been hit by bigger, and I've been in the ring with stronger. And I get nasty with the nastiest. High flying is just not my game. So if he want to come punch me in the mouth, I'm just going to kick him right in the mouth. It's just that simple. But like I said, you want that trophy, you got to go through me.
Now, another one that we got to talk about, because I kind of like to go through and I just got to get your feel on all these guys. There's another guy, word on the street is he knows how good he is. And, but he's got the heritage, he's got the lineage, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Eric Wayne, third generation guy coming in out of Tennessee. I grew up with his father. I'm very familiar with his father. Ken Wayne of the Masked Nightmares. Of course, the Nightmares after they were unmasked, but kid's got the bloodline's there. But like I said, the same thing, man. It's what's your take on him?
Eric Wayne. I've been in the ring with Eric Wayne before. He's nasty. He's dirty. He's definitely somebody you don't want to underestimate, especially when he pulls a power driver out of his bag. But I feel like when it comes to who's the hungriest in this tournament, Eric Wayne is not at the top of that list, and that's going to be his downfall. I don't think he needs this trophy. I need this trophy, and other guys feel the same way. And I don't think he needs it.
Yeah, and not to go back to those two, but yeah, that was one of the statements made by those two that we first talked about. Scotty Matthews and O'Shea both were like, look, promoters are overlooking us. I mean, they're not, this is our opportunity to make a name for ourselves, come in here and, get shots that we feel like we deserve because people are taking us for granted and sleeping on us. And that seems to be a trend that I hear from talking to all you guys is you guys understand the Great Southern 8 is a big deal. And November the 11th at the Hideaway in Jackson, Mississippi, dude, it's on. You guys all are fully aware of what this means for your careers down the road. This is a huge opportunity. So fans, you want to make sure you're there. The doors open at 6, bell time's at 7. Family of 4 can get in for $40 or less, depending on the age of your kid. So, trust me, it's much cheaper than going to see a movie and getting popcorn and all that kind of stuff. Just bring everybody down, watch this show. And like I said, you're going to see, it's a one and done tournament. Guys, and in some tournaments, people lay back and reserve and save some in the tank. You can't do that. Anybody in this, I'm looking at the card right in front of me. Any one of these guys can take this trophy home. I wouldn't be shocked if anybody won this. So you're going to see one quality match after another. And like I said, for that price, you cannot go wrong. I mean, the depth there from top to bottom. Like I said, Vegas odds will tell you, I'm talking to the man. Rey Fury's, the one bringing home the trophy. Yep. And, but hey, then you got somebody like Brady Pierce. He's got the look. I joked with Brady Pierce, and said, if you built a wrestler, what is he supposed to look like? You point at Brady Pierce and go, that's what you would genetically build if you could do that. Wouldn't you say the same?
I guess. But guess what? There's a lot of guys on the Indies with nice bodies. Doesn't mean a thing to me.
They still got to get in there and work with you, right? They still got to work.
Exactly. Yep.
We got guys like Bam Bam, who's the big Texas kid coming in. I always say he's probably him and Stunt Marshall are your dark horses as far as, and I don't mean that by any disrespect. I'm telling you, that's just the quality of the depth I'm looking at. But hey, Stunt Marshall's out here in Georgia too. I know he's representing Florida, but he's passed through Georgia a few times. I've seen him work. But man, and then of course Corey Constantine. He's got a lot to prove. Everybody remembers, he was kind of that dude, man. He was a 450 guy himself. But that, the knee, like I said, coming back from it, he's got a lot to prove as well. And that's another match I really would like to see. I'd like to see you and him go at it.
Agreed. I would love to see that as well. But let me tell you something. Coming in the Great Southern 8 on the biggest stage of the year at Pro Wrestling Evo and at the Hideaway, I think it's going to be too much pressure on Corey Constantine, especially for his first match back.
You think the weight is just going to, and I don't mean that with any pun, but the weight's going to buckle the knee. It's going to break him. He's not going to be ready.
Yep.
So, man, I'm like I said, I'm looking across this card from top to bottom. I'm sitting here saying, like, look, think about a night where you might have to face, Eric Wayne, O'Shea Edwards, and Scotty Matthews or something like that in one night, or even Stunt Mark. You throw them any combination of.
Gosh.
It's going to be a long, long night.
Gosh.
And see, maybe I hadn't made you probably hadn't even thought about it that way until I threw it on you like that, right?
The only thing I thought about was having 3 matches, and I felt okay about that. But now when you put it that way, Brady Pierce, Eric Wayne, and an O'Shea back to back to back, that's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. Yeah,
and there's no easy seating. I mean, it's really not. When I look at those 8, there's nobody. Like if I told you to look at that card and said, who do you want, for your first match? You might pick somebody who's going to give you, the challenge, but there's nobody you're looking at going like, oh, he's the easy one. I'll take him because he's the easy way to the second round.
Yeah, like I said, you can't underestimate anybody in this tournament. You really can't, because when you underestimate, that's when it turns around and bites you. Absolutely, because on any given night, we all know. A small package, with some of these guys in here, they're not above grabbing a tight here, pair, tights to hold to get that 3 count. So
Anybody can get beat, man, on any given night. There's no shame in, I always tell people, there's no shame in losing. It's just about getting back up and fighting again. Problem is in the Great Southern Eight, there's no getting back up and getting back in. When you're beat, you're gone.
Yep.
So, that's a big one, man, November the 11th. But, let us know, you're hitting the road left and right, man. You're not just a one, that's the great thing about Rey Fury. He's traveling the roads. He's doing the drive. He's putting in the time. And you can see him a lot of different places. Well, where else can they find you, man?
You can find me Alabama, Revo Pro Wrestling. I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida. In December, I'll be in Miami, Florida. This weekend, I'm heading over to Chalmette, Louisiana to defend my Elevate Pro Heavyweight title. I spent some time in Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, pretty much a lot of the southern states. But my goal for next year is to try to branch out into the West and possibly hit home at least one time.
Let me ask you, you dropped a name. This was really not even on my radar to talk about, but you brought up a promotion I hear a lot about, Elevate. You know what I mean? Tell me a little bit about why do I hear the name? Why do I keep hearing that name, and why can I not? It's a show that apparently I'm going to have to make a trip for. Tell me a little bit about it.
I can tell you why you keep hearing it, because it's only been up and running for 1 year, and 1 year I feel like it's the fastest growing promotion out there on the indies. There's no other promotion that has rose faster than Elevate Pro. And when I tell you they bring in a lot of the top tier talent in the South, they bring in a lot of great talent. They brought in the likes of Pentagon, Matt Cross, Chris Silvio, who was recently on Impact and in NXT. Miranda, who participated in the Mae Young Classic. Vordell Walker. Serpentico, John Cruz, and of course my brother Alex Cruz. So, and every show the card is stacked from top to bottom. And there's a lot of good promotions in Louisiana, and they're up there with the best.
So that's your Louisiana. That's your home in Louisiana. That's where you're hitting through when you're going through.
Yeah, that's my second home in Louisiana.
I hear a lot about it, man. I do. So, I mean, they are doing something right. I tell people that if I keep hearing the name, in the chatter, that's a good thing. Absolutely good thing.
And Alex Cruz, the promoter, he's on the road just as much as I am. So, to be a promoter and be on the road that frequently, that's helping that brand and that promotion as well. That's helping you network. So,
I always ask, because one of the things I always hear, I had the pleasure of sitting in on a seminar, and one of the guy, he was a former WWE name, and it was a seminar, and he always says, you gotta work international. Before you're going to make it to the big show, you gotta go international. Is that something Rey Fury looks at down the road and it's like, I want to hit the UK or, Mexico or Canada or whatever? Where are you looking to go?
Man, where should I start? I am dying to get out of the United States and just hit as many places as I can. I would love to get a taste of the UK, Japan, Mexico, even a little bit of California. I know it's still in the States, but that's a whole different style of wrestling. Australia, wherever I could sink my teeth into, I'm ready to go. So yeah, definitely got plans to head out to the United States and apply my craft.
Yeah, I was thinking, believe it or not, I was thinking UK is a good fit, to change it up. Japan was a good fit, I thought, as well, when I was watching some of your matches. So that's
great. I think it'll be a great fit in Japan.
Absolutely, 100%. But man, what else you got to put, shirts, merch, where can they find you? Because, keep that all in mind, guys. Always tell you, man, when you're supporting these indie guys, when you're hitting these shows, first and foremost, I always start with go see your independent shows. It's the most important thing, and I'm going to tell you why. If you haven't seen the video that surfaced, AJ Styles walked out into an independent ring about 40 minutes from it's not even 40, probably about 40 minutes from my house, and he made a point to say, support independent wrestling, because your next Stone Cold, Rock, AJ, whatever, they're there now. You're watching them. you can look back at the day when you said, I saw Rey Fury win. I could walk up to him at a show. I could buy his shirt. I could shake his hand. I could take a picture with him. That's, and that's a thing people underestimate that experience with their kids. Mm-hmm. You can go to a WWE show, but your kid's not getting a picture with John Cena. Your kid's not getting a picture with anybody on that card that night. Trust me.
They're paying triple.
And they're paying tons more. I pride myself on hitting as many independent shows as I can. And the biggest thing I also ask, that merch table, walk over to it, let your kid pick out his favorite guy for the night, even if it's one shirt. Buy the shirt. It goes a long way for the guys, doing the work that night. Trust me, and they appreciate it more than you could ever possibly know. And they'll they're typically there. They'll take the picture when you buy the shirt, etc. And, where can you say that? Like I said, way back when your kid's older, he can say, I saw Rey Fury win. He won the Great Southern 8 and I bought a shirt that night. Something like that. That's always a good thing, don't you think?
Yeah, that's why if you ever had a show where I'm at and I'm on the card, I show so much love, man. I know how it feels to be that guy in the nosebleeds or even in the first row. I know how it feels like to be that kid, So after every show or even in intermission, I make sure I shake everyone's hand. I give hugs. I take pictures. Because just little stuff like that goes a long way. And if you're getting up out of your bed, your comfort zone, to come drive to the building and come see me wrestle, that just means so much to me.
And that's, like I said, the appreciation's typically there. You guys, it shows. We know it. And I know it because I talk to you guys, day after day. I'm talking to you guys and I hear it. But that's what I tell people. The experience is not, and I'm not taking anything away from what they do. Trust me. They put WWE, your big, even Ring of Honor, they put on a great show, but it's not the experience I feel like your kid's going to get. And they said you can afford to take the whole family and it's not $200, plus to get everybody in. You can get in, like I said, at the Great Southern 8, November the 11th. You could walk into the Hideaway in Jackson, Mississippi and drop $40. And that's if everybody in your family's over 13 and everybody's in the door.
That's right.
So for the same amount of money, I'm going to tell you, you can turn around and you can walk both kids over to the table. One of them can grab an O'Shea Edwards shirt. One can grab a Rey Fury shirt. Both of them can grab a Rey Fury shirt. Whatever it may be, you're still coming out of there for under $100 with a great experience with the shirt. And, and that's just my thing. You can support the guys. Absolutely. He's got the super cool shirt on right now. I'm looking at it. It's pink. Now let me ask you why you're sporting that, man. Kind of let everybody know. Is that a shirt you're selling at your table right now?
Yeah. I just got these in. It's October, mm-hmm. and I had a grandmother who passed away to breast cancer. So, I always like to support when October rolls around. So I made some 2 Yeet pink ribbon support breast cancer month t-shirts. They're limited edition. I only made a limited amount, limited sizes. I got 2 colors. I got one in pink and I got some in black. So next show you see me at, be sure to grab your Yeet shirt.
And everybody knows, if they know the history of and it's funny, I didn't mention exactly. We talked off air about, I told you I sat on the board of a charity event. It was a breast cancer charity event. Some buddies, we were running it every year. It was a big annual event. And so that's why I wanted to point out, make sure if you're going to get a shirt, sorry, O'Shea, if they're getting 2 shirts and one of them's a Rey Fury shirt and they want another one, this show, grab the breast cancer awareness shirt. Trust me. But you can order your O'Shea Edwards online and, or you can grab, nothing's stopping you from grabbing 4 shirts at the show. Let's put it that way, right? So support all your guys. Cause it could be any one of these 8. Scotty Matthews, Stunt Marshall, Rey Fury, Brady Pierce, Bam Bam Malone, Eric Wayne, Corey Constantine, O'Shea Edwards. They're going to come out and they're going to bust their butt, especially the guy, think about it, the guy who wins this tournament, like we said, is going to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
Support those guys. The guy that your kid, somebody will make a connection with your kid at the show. I guarantee you. go over there and buy that shirt for that kid, and it'll be an experience he'll just never ever forget, especially if they can get a picture, that's just something they can't get back. So I just want to emphasize it. I know everybody's like, man, you always say that. Yes, I do, because I know the importance of it, and I stress it to no end. Again, November the 11th, Hideaway, Jackson, Mississippi. It's the 6th annual Great Southern 8. Well, 7 p.m. bell rings. That's when the action starts. $10, and under for the seats. Man, I hope you're the guy. I'll go ahead and tell you, I can't lie and tell you my heart doesn't tug another direction sometimes, just because, we got that one friend of the show's in there, but it's not going to kill us to say we got 2 friends in that tournament, from this point forward, right?
Yeah, it won't kill you, man. And I love O'Shea. I hope I don't see you. I hope I don't, O'Shea. I want to be quite frank with you, man. I don't want to see you in that tournament, brother.
But I'd love to see it in the finals, if nothing else. That'd be a hell of a finals to end it. Exactly. So, man, let everybody know, though, before we jet out of here. I know we talked about the shirts and everything, but where do they find you on social media? If they want to keep up with Rey Fury and they want to know where they can find you, on the fly, the best place is always that social media, man. How can they hunt you down on there?
Well, I just created a YouTube account. I just started it. I'm trying to upload some of my matches on there, and that's at The Fury Factory. And if you want to find me on Instagram, I upload pictures daily, pictures and videos that I don't put anywhere else. So that's a good place to find me. That's King Fury _. And if you want to follow me on Twitter to see what's going on in my brain, it's _ Rey Fury. And on Facebook, you can find me on the Rey Fury.
Well, man, it has been an absolute pleasure and an honor to have you on. And I tell you, the invitation is wide open. I've got tons of ideas about, bringing you back for other things. But we just had to have you on here for this Great Southern 8. It's such a big tournament right now. Jay reached out and was like, would you like to have these guys on? I was like, yes, I absolutely would love to help in any way, shape, form, or fashion, because I saw the depth of the talent, and I can't stress that enough. So, guys, make sure you head out November the 11th, Jackson, Mississippi, the Hideaway, the Great Southern 8, absolute cannot miss event. So, get out there, man. But again, I want to say thanks for coming on, buddy. We greatly, greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me. And anytime you need me back on, I'm more than open to the opportunity, man.
Sounds good. Take care, buddy.
All right.
Yeet.